All right, well, it just arrived, and unexpectedly, I might say. I didn't even get a shipping notification, but Gilbert Collins' War for America, the American Revolution 1775 to 1782. I went several months without any new games, and in the last week, I have received 4. This one, by far, my most anticipated game of 2022. American Revolution is a really fascinating subject, and this game looks excellent. I watched some of Gilbert's videos on his YouTube channel that he posted several years ago while he was still working on it, and I'm so happy that it is finally here. I have not even opened this yet, so we're going to take a look at this together. It's a true unboxing, but War for America, Compass Games, out now. You can see here, the first thing, I kind of noticed, I really like this cover. At first glance, this looks like a painting that was used here. You can see the Native Americans and the British in this column as they're moving through colonial North America. The one kind of weird thing about it is that it looks like Compass blew up this painting, and it's a little grainy, it's a little blurry, a little fuzzy. It's fine when you're looking at it far away like this, but as you're closer to the box, everything is really fuzzy on the edges, and I think that's just an artifact of this painting being blown up for the cover, which whatever, you're not playing the cover of the game, but it is a little unfortunate that it looks that way when you're up close. Let's get this open. This is looks like 2-inch box from Compass. Not as thick as like some of their more recent stuff. So this is like a mid-weight, so not like Granada, for example. All right, so what do we got? We got looks like a Compass catalog. I will look at that later. There appears to be, what is this? What does this say? This says, dice are not red and blue. Well, I can confirm that. The dice are not red and blue. They are black and white. I guess they were supposed to be red and blue. It's really funny that they put a slip in here, like an errata sheet, that the dice are not red and blue, because I can tell. But not a big deal. I have red and blue dice up the wazoo, so if I really cared about red and blue dice, I could use them. But we got black and white. Here are the cards. So this is not a card-driven game in the traditional sense. From what I remember from Gilbert's overview of the game, he took more sort of inspiration from the Mark Simonich's U.S. Civil War than he did from something like Washington's War, We the People. Let's get these open and take a look. There's no ops value, at least on these, as you can see. Looks like battle cards here. Bunch of battle cards. Same painting on the back. Looks a lot better. The image looks a lot better on the back of the card when it's not blown up. Let's see, what else? So we got some extended march. Yeah, so like these look pretty, so not ops events. It looks like you're just going to get some cards. Hey, there's John Graves Simcoe, who is the villain in AMC's TV show Turn, which is a great show about the American Revolution that I think everyone should watch. One of my favorite TV shows of all time. Some of Patrick Ferguson, Tarleton, yeah, some of the key figures. I like the way they use paintings of them. So it looks like these are just like event cards. I'm not really sure how they're used. You might draw a certain number, and they have certain years on them as well, and which faction can play them. I'm going to be curious to see how these work into the game, because it's not a CDG. It is, I think, card assisted is what Gilbert likes to say. Let's see this. This is a corrections and clarification sheet. There's a kind of a lot of things here. Curious if there's any actual errata. Yeah, there's a little bit of errata here in the rules. It's just some clarifications about wording. Let's see, charts and tables. Some clarifications there. Yeah, it looks like there's some minor errata in the game, which is unfortunate. Yeah, a lot of this stuff, I guess we'll see how big of a deal it is. Unfortunate that there's a full sheet of clarifications in the box. Wish that wasn't the case, but they don't appear to be too game-breaking. There's just maybe some word clarifications and some stuff on the charts that you can ignore. It's tough to catch everything in a big game. Let's see, these are the rules. So we have the rule book here. I've heard this game is very long, but not very complicated. The rule book is really nice. Looks like we've got 19 pages, 20 pages if you count the index. Actual rules is only, yeah, 18 pages. So not too long of a rule book, which is good. Hopefully it's not too hard to learn. It's smaller text, but it's pretty spaced. Lots of color in here, which is nice. Really looking forward to digging into that. We've got the British reinforcement chart here, which is nice. So fixed reinforcements with leaders. We've got the colonial reinforcement chart here. Again, fixed reinforcements with leaders. So looks nice. We've got little a little army holding card for each side. Yep. So each side looks like they can have 3 armies. And you'll probably put your units on here. I believe you only play with leaders on the map. I don't believe you have stacks in this game unless they're units on their own, which is, I think, nice. Here we have a starting position setup sheet. This is really nice. I really like the art on the counter images here. There's political will in the game. Looks like we've got provincial, militias. Yep. And these are, I forget what these are called. There's a name for these. There's like ammo bastions, basically. Forts, leaders. Here is the terrain effects chart. The terrain does play a role based on the space that you're fighting in. This is a point-to-point game. So that's cool. So once you get the starting setup done, you can flip this over, have the terrain, and what that is going to affect. The Six Nations card. So this is all about the Native Americans. Tells you all the rules you need about all the different Native American tribes that can enter. Movement restrictions, winter. I'm sure they probably go home in the winter. And then this is the foreign entry rules. So France, Spain, the Netherlands. People forget that there was fights with the Spanish in the American Revolution down in the South, in Florida, and modern day Panhandle. Their sort of rules reminders. That's really nice to have here. The charts and tables. There is 1 copy of this. You've got Petite Guerre, which is going to be probably skirmishing, standard battle, probably between regulars. It's looks like it is strength point based. There are odds modifiers, so if your odds are better, they will modify your die roll. It's got a pretty unique system here. So battles are typically going to do 1 loss. But there's like this asterisk system, which I believe is inspired by U.S. Civil War. But basically, you both get a 1, but whoever has more asterisks is going to be the winner, essentially. So it's fairly... You're not going to have wildly swingy combats where a whole army is going to get wiped out, it looks like. It's probably going to be pretty predictable what happens there. Here's Continental Levees, obviously very important in the American Revolution, where, you know, colonial troops are being raised from. British transport capacity... Loyalist muster, how much militia each region can have, and fleet combat. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. And on the back here, we've got the sequence of play, reinforcements, seasonal turns, initiative. So there is an initiative in this, very much like the U.S. Civil War, where you roll to see who's going to act first. The action cycle, pretty interesting, and then end of the turn. So not too complicated, but really interesting decision space, it looks like. Here's the playbook. Examples of play. We've got scenarios. Let's check out and see what scenarios we've got in here. Scenarios. So, we've got the campaign scenario. Looking forward to that. Looks like you use different cards in different scenarios. The French arrival scenario. So this one is a 4-year scenario. Pretty nice. Is that it? Is that the only 2 scenarios? Interesting. Yeah, there's 2 scenarios, it looks like. The campaign and the French arrival. So a late war scenario and a campaign scenario. I'm just curious if there's not... I guess it wouldn't make sense to have victory conditions for early war. So 2 scenarios in there. Gazetteer. And some designer notes, which I'll be very interested to read. If you watch any of Gilbert's videos, you know that he's a very smart and well-read individual. I'm curious to see what a Canadian designer... brings to the table for the American Revolution. Here's a bibliography, as you can see, very well read. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at the maps. I believe there are 2 in here, and I will get these pulled out, and then we'll show them to you. Real quick, before we get there, counters. We'll do these last, but they're all individually wrapped, and they're already just punching out really nicely. I mean, look at that. So that's why they wrapped them. I'll show you those last, but let's take a look at the maps. So 2 maps, not small by any means, but a very nice looking, nice looking map. It's got the Caribbean, which is going to be an important theater for the Revolutionary War. Not a lot of games tackle this, or they tackle it abstractly, but as you can see here, Gilbert has a full point-to-point map of the Caribbean with the Spanish holdings and the fight that's going to occur there, and the French and the British. Very cool that is in the game. All these naval lines that represent British ship movement and where they can go and where they can land. You've got northern Florida all the way down here. Georgia. It's a really nice looking map. I mean, it looks, I like the cartography of it. It's very nice. And then obviously all the different spaces that you can move to. And here's Utah Springs, which, you know, we played the Battles of the American Revolution game about that on this channel. Augusta, Georgia. We go to North Carolina. Here's the frontier. Looks like we've got militia and loyalist control spaces, perhaps. Maryland, Delaware, obviously going to be very important. Pennsylvania, a lot of spaces in there. Trenton, here's New York, Connecticut, all the way up. So it's a very large game. Up here we've got some tracks and reminders about political will events, so different things that can happen to adjust the political will. Leaders, initiative, action impulses, tracks up there. You've got the sailing from England, which is nice. Nova Scotia. And as you can see, it's a big footprint game. I mean, it's a two full-size maps stacked horizontally. So it's going to take some table space, but looks very interesting. At this level, playing the American Revolution is really exciting to me, and I'm very excited to see that. All right, let's take a look at the counters. As now that we've seen both maps. Well, the counter is just falling out of the sprues, which is nice to see. Here we've got some Germans. Interesting that they chose purple for them. Game markers. I mean, this is how the counters are coming out. So I guess we're clipping and sorting this today. See if I can focus on some British. There's some British regulars in different strength point denominations. That will probably fall out. Oh, that's on the one beneath. So, okay. Yeah, so both sheets are, both sheets are just, have been punched. There we go, punched it live. We got some green militia. We got some markers. Here are some of the leaders. Benedict Arnold, Washington, Schuyler. There's Burgoyne. Riedzel. He's got all the people here. Here's Nathaniel Greene, Horatio Gates, Putnam. Looks really nice. And then there's a half sheet. There are two full sheets and then a half sheet. These look like they're 5/8 inch counters. So here's some ships. So we've got the British ships, Dutch, Spanish, French, the Lake Navy. Obviously, that's going to play a role. Here are the Army indicators as well, somewhere here. Yeah, so... Oh, these are duplicates. Okay, yeah, so it comes with a duplicate set of the ships and what have you. But it looks, I mean, these counters are nice. They're going to probably pop on the map, given that the map colors are a little bit more pastel and these colors here are a little bit more vibrant. Looking forward to organizing this and playing it. Been really excited for this game. We'll see how bad the errata and clarifications are, but this I'm going to get to the table very soon. Really looking forward to it. Gilbert Collins, a very smart guy, and that's War for America.